Okay, so this looks really interesting. Um, yeah, I can see your references, clearly from Ethiopian Ethiopian women. Um, so while I'm not tempted to comment on the anatomy, the figure drawing component, I think I have to because the whole idea of this class is to learn in every way, and it will not be fair on me to see things are not working and not say anything about it and just ignore it. So let me speak about the let me speak about the figure drawing. So there are many things that need to be done, that can be done to improve what I'm looking at. The I know you are drawing with a style, and I'm going to be as gracious as possible to accommodate your style. But you remember when we came to this class, when we started this class, we weren't like, we've gone past the stylization bits, right? So obviously I shouldn't be talking about this, but at this point, I would like you to know that even though you are welcome to use your style, you should still try to pay attention to what makes it look good. So while I'm talking, I'm kind of doing like sketch, a rough sketch on top of what you've done, because I think that it will not be the best use of this class if you've gone through it without unlearning some things, or returning to your default state, because we can, and this is not to attack you or anything, because I also suffer the same problem sometimes. We just we go back to our comfort zones, without thinking about it, so that we don't make mistakes, or we don't try new things, or we don't challenge ourselves.
Hey, how's it going? John Ventura, just kind of illustrator, most recently in the advertising space, but I'm trying to level up and move up, do something else. But what I got most from this class was just kind of looking at references in a different light, kind of, you know, the way Uzoma's like just kind of like practices, like something I could really, like I really took in, because I don't, I was like, I do things in a different way. And it's kind of good to get out of my comfort zone and like, like looking the shapes and really pushing things. And I've been really paying attention. I feel like I learned a lot from like pushing the shapes and thinking about shapes. And I love the individual critiques that you do, like the videos. Like I feel like
Thank
some
you.
classes I've taken in the past is like they try to cram it in all in the class, but you really took the time to kind of individually just kind of give us a full on just critique, and which I really appreciate because I'm just trying to level up as much as I can, uh yeah, that's what I got from the class for sure.
This course is now available for purchase on Gumroad. From the beginning of this class, I don't remember I think it's week 2. You might need to go back and watch those videos. I think week 2 and week 3. The video about stylization, conscious and subconscious stylization. You need to go back and look at it, because that class, emphasized on how to be able to see subjects. I don't know where, I know, these things were handed over to you. I don't know if you were the one who did this original design, or if you redrew the characters or something, but you need to go back and look at that class again, so that you learn how to stylize things without resorting to using your familiar techniques, that's going back to your comfort zone. Right. So in terms of hair, the hair looks like a cloud, which also work, because I mean, if you're stylizing stuff, it can also work. But try to avoid repeating patterns, like, unless of course you want because me, I'm thinking CGI. right? I'm thinking production for CGI. I'm not thinking about 2D, because if this was 2D, it would work. But with CGI, some of these things might not really work. And when I say be careful about patterns, is you see how this part, and this part are just the same. 1, 2, 3. Hair doesn't form like that. Like you can't have, if you've looked at hair, which is why I say you should go back and study that, watch the videos from class 2 and 3, because hair doesn't form like this in reality. You cannot have repetitions like this. You want things to feel organic. So yeah, I understand you are stylizing, but you also still have to keep that back of your mind, so that you don't end up with something that looks that looks that doesn't have that professional touch. You need that professional touch. Anyways, then so now we've gone past the hair. Now let's look past the hair to the body. And I would appreciate if you can go back, like all these things I'm doing, you can request for the PSD file and I'll send them to you. Go back and so where's the second boobs? Where is that? Is it here? I need to see it in your drawing that you are paying attention to the form that is underneath. I'll prefer you draw this character, like draw her out, I don't know if that's what you did. I hope that's what you did. If that's not what you did, you might have. I would suggest you go do more studies on it. Let's see what is happening underneath. Like, is this? Did you draw? Did you draw her? Did you first of all draw the figure before drawing the leg? Before drawing the dress? Because that's what I think I pointed. Somebody asked this question in class. Was it? I think it was Kofi that asked this question in class. And I showed him a video of how I go about these things. You have to draw the figure underneath so that we see how the dress is resting on it. I know this dress is really big, so this is not it's probably not it's probably not going to be useful for you to draw a figure underneath. But then even at that, the legs are coming out, so yeah, you still need to draw these things underneath. Even if you don't draw into in detail, at least outline it. Outline it. Of course, I wasn't going to see that in your final submission, because all of that is underneath. But from what I see, the reason I'm emphasizing this is that from what I'm looking at, I can tell that you did not draw that figure underneath. You didn't draw the figure. If you did, some of these things will not be showing, will not be the way they are. So please take note of this. Always draw the forms, draw the complete form figure. Even if you cannot draw the whole thing, draw like, I'm not expecting you to draw it in detail, but at least draw it as an outline, or in a rough sketch, as a rough sketch, so I can see. Yeah, and then look at the hands. Like, what's up with the hands? Why are they looking like this? Why aren't the hands drawn properly? These things matter. Like, I don't even know what she's doing. Is she holding the dress? Like, is she supposed to be holding the dress? Like, let me see if I understand what you're trying to do. Is she holding the dress like this? Which is what I think is going on, by the way. If that's not the case, please let me know. So she's holding the dress up. You know how, at least that's what I think is going on. How a lady in a wedding gown would hold her dress up so that it doesn't touch the ground. Maybe when she wants to walk or she wants to run. That my understanding of what is going on is that that's the case. She's holding it up. So I need to draw that hand out before I draw the dress. Where is her shoulder? starting from? I can't even tell. So sometimes people use stylization to hide their inabilities to draw figures correctly. I hope that's not the case here, but because I'm trying to understand where the different components are. I don't know where her shoulders are. I don't know how long because like look at how tall, look at how long what's it called, her hips, her legs are. They're so long. But then the arm, I'm struggling with making that arm, like drawing the arm, like I'm struggling with drawing the arm because I don't understand the proportions. Like the proportions are not really working for me. And now, even if I manage to draw the hands correctly, I'm looking at the face again, and I'm like, does this face suit this type of the proportion? Because for a proportion that is this big, for me to do a full shot, because you have to think about production for the storyboard artists, the production, the animation department, all of them. Because if you have a character like this now, and we're going to do a full shot, like we're going to frame her in the shot from head to toe, how will we be able to see the nuances of performance in her face when the face is so small compared to the body? So all these things are things we look at when designing. You have to think, that's why it's called design, character design, not character creation. Because if it's just creation, we can create anything, but we have to design it for film, design it for storytelling. So that's why I'm having all this challenge. I'm having this challenge now with finding the design component of this. What is she doing? And I'm trying to see how to. I'm trying to act it out myself, because if somebody is holding their dress up, their arms are not even going to be straight down. It will be spread out. Man, this is so their arms will be spread out like this. I've not even started talking about the colors. I'm still talking about proportions here. So people that raise their dress up, I think that their hands will be spread out like this. And I'm struggling with the proportion of the hands because I don't know, I don't understand the style. And this finger is kind of popping out like that. And she's holding her dress. So now with this thing, with this under drawing, it's easier to place the dress. I feel like her hips should be for this type of body. And I don't even know if this is the body intended. I'm just, at this point, I'm just, drawing. And you see what I did here with the knees pointing out, because for the toe to be facing this direction, the knee has to face the same direction. So I'm wondering, okay, how is she posed? Like, is it, and for her knee to be bent, for her to stand like this, it means that this leg, the left leg, is holding the weight of the body. So we have to shift the weight of her body to the left leg, which means that she's going to bend. Her body is going to bend like this. So that's the only way that leg can trail behind. If you want her right, this leg to trail behind, this hip has to hold the body up. Now, look at what we're saying. Is it really comfortable for her to actually stand this way while holding out her dress? I don't think it's comfortable for people to stand this way. So I'm going to do another drawing again. I'll duplicate that one and do another drawing for what I think is a more appropriate pose. That leg be inwards like this. And that leg is planted to the ground. It's not, she's not tiptoeing. Like her legs are planted in the ground. Her heels are touching the ground. Like that. Even the measurement of the leg, like the size of the feet also is important, because I'm thinking about your style. How would it fit? Because now the feet you drew before is bigger than her head. It's almost as big as her head. And for females, I don't think drawing big legs or big toes or big feet rather is appropriate for females. So maybe make it smaller, and then that leg, the other leg, can, so this leg is planted behind and this one is in the front. Now this feels more like somebody that is giving like a courteous pose. So we have, and then all this boobs parts can be better. Use, when doing stuff like this, use real people, use real women, real poses. I'm sure there are lots of references online. You don't have to draw this thing by heart. You can use references. There's no rule anywhere that says you have to draw these things by heart. So draw that leg, draw that feet properly, draw the legs properly. Hi guys, so in the fall of 2025, I got to host an 8-week masterclass titled Ethnic Character Design for Animation, which had a decent number of signups. I got to share a ton of rich information, secrets, industry insights that I used to craft an award-winning character like Noni, Eyes of Wakanda. The sessions were archived and compiled into a digestible course. This course is now available for purchase on Gumroad. So if you are an intermediate level artist seeking to diversify your portfolio to include culturally grounded characters in animation, then this is for you. And then for somebody who is a little bit thick, on the thicker side, maybe her arms will be more like this. More like this. Now look at how that head now looks off. Like the head doesn't feel right, because we've drawn everything the way it's supposed to be now. We know exactly what is off and what is not, because if we've drawn the body to proportion and the head doesn't feel right, then you need to adjust the size of that head. Rather than just drawing everything, let everything be work together as a whole rather than in isolation. Because maybe if you look at the head alone, the head looks pretty, the body alone looks pretty, but if you bring all of them together, do they work? Does it work? So this is what I feel like she needs to look like body wise, based on your style, like what you've done. I didn't take anything away from it, but the only thing is I drew the hands properly. This hand you drew before was just too big, and I don't know, I cannot see any elbows there, like no folds, nothing. So now if you draw the cloth on top of this, it's much easier, because I know, okay, this is where the top is, and then this is the cuff. It's much easier to draw on top of this, so always draw this before you draw your costume. All right, now let's look at the colors. We spent too much time on this. Look at the colors now. All right, so the colors are not bad, the colors are okay, but the only thing I'll say is, when you have, remember I was saying in the class that you don't want to have saturated colors. This is design, this is character design, not character creation. So character design is that you have to design all these things to work for as a whole for the character and the story. Therefore, this part is way too saturated because it's getting all the way down. So it's already a bit of a distraction with that part. I mean, look at it. This part, which is the part that should be saturated. this part should be saturated, this hair flower, but then it's not as saturated as this part. So if I were you, what I'll do is I'll tone down all these things, like dial it back, so I can just, let me just give you a rough idea of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is the final thing, but so now like this is much better because we are no longer focused on that part, and then now the part that should be saturated is like this hair, this flower thing on the hair. So we can make that saturated, and then you see now that with just these little changes, the focus is on her face, because that's where we have all the gold and the green flower, you know, the bright green and stuff. So that's what I think, you know, when you design, I pointed this thing out in class. Please watch the last video again. And then for the rough outfits, or for the tattered outfits, I said, I used mod in class, but I wasn't expecting everybody to do mod, and it's just surprising that everybody did the same thing. I in the assignment clearly states corrosion, different type of thing. I don't think mod is even in the assignment. Like, it's not highlighted in the assignment. Mod was a suggestion from somebody in the class, in our last class. Mod was not even specifically in the assignment, So I'm surprised that everybody's doing the same thing, the whole mod thing. Try other things. It mustn't be mod. It can be rain. It can be acid. It can be fire. Maybe her clothes got burnt or something. Like, try different things. But the way this one looks, like, the rendering can be way better. Like, I see where you wrote sweat, ripped, dirt. I think it can be way, way, way better. Your rendering, like, I can barely tell. Okay, I can see that. Oh, it's just now I'm noticing it. I'm just noticing now that her legs are actually coming out from her dress. And then this other part is torn. Okay, well, now that I'm looking at that, that's actually not bad. But then the way it's rendered, like, you used an airbrush. Please don't use don't use airbrushes. Airbrush makes your work look cheap. Like, look at this part. It makes it look cheap. Airbrush is not ideal for painting, like directly painting, unless you know how to use it in an interesting way. Because the way you use this airbrush, it can be way better. And airbrush on skin, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like graffiti, like somebody's sprayed a graffiti paint on her legs. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't look right. So please do the needful. Try other things. I don't even know why are we seeing this pattern. What's up with these patterns here? Why are we seeing all these patterns? Where are they from? The patterns are not on the main dress, so why are they here? I have no idea. So you need to go back and do the needful. Color these things properly. First of all, sketch her properly based on the recommendation I'm giving you here. This one, sketch her properly, and then draw the dress on top of that sketch, and before you apply color. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.